This prison was not built to torture. It was built with hope, a belief that silence could heal the soul, that isolation could create redemption. Instead, it became a place where minds collapsed, sanity dissolved, and silence turned into punishment. What happened inside these walls was not an accident. It was a real experiment on the human mind, and once it began, there was no way to undo it. In Philadelphia stands a place where history does not rest quietly, where stone remembers voices, where silence carries weight, and where suffering did not end when the doors were finally locked. This is Eastern State Penitentiary, not a haunted house, not a legend, but a real institution that tested how much isolation the human mind could survive. When Eastern State Penitentiary opened in 1829, it shocked the world. Not because it was violent, but because it was revolutionary. The system was called the Pennsylvania system. Prisoners would be kept in total solitary confinement. No talking, no human contact, no shared existence. Officials believed silence would force reflection. Reflection would lead to repentance, and repentance would lead to reform. Even the word penitentiary came from penitence. But no one truly understood then what prolonged isolation does to the human brain. The prison was originally designed with 7 one-story cell blocks. Each cell was meant to be a world unto itself. But the system failed faster than expected. By the time cell block 3 was completed, Eastern State was already overcrowded, so the design changed. Later, cell blocks were built with 2 stories, doubling capacity and doubling isolation. Toward the end, cell blocks 14 and 15 were rushed into construction, not by architects, but by prisoners themselves. Cell block 15 housed the most violent inmates, so dangerous that guards were sealed behind gates, watching from a distance. Even authority had begun to fear what it had created. Inside these cells, prisoners lived completely alone. No conversation, no faces to remember, no voices to respond to. When inmates were moved, they were hooded, so they would never see one another. Food arrived through a narrow slot, orders were whispered, silence was absolute. Entire sections were built underground, with no windows, no natural light, and no plumbing. At first, prisoners counted days. Then they lost track of time. Then, they lost track of themselves. Isolation was not enough. Punishments became more severe. There was the water bath. Inmates dunked repeatedly and hung against stone walls in winter until ice formed on their skin. There was the mad chair, binding prisoners so tightly that circulation stopped, sometimes leading to amputations. There was the iron gag, a metal collar forced into the mouth, hands bound behind the back, where any movement tore the tongue and filled the mouth with blood. And then there was the hole, an underground cell with no light, no toilet, no human contact, and barely enough food and air to survive. This was not correction. This was endurance. Doctors began recording alarming effects: hallucinations, paranoia, uncontrollable weeping, sudden, meaningless laughter. Men spoke to walls, whispered to shadows, screamed for voices that never came. Charles Dickens visited the prison and later described it as a daily assault on the mysteries of the human brain. What was meant to heal was dismantling the mind piece by piece. Over 142 years, nearly 75,000 inmates passed through these cells. That means, for more than a century, every single day, someone entered these walls and left changed forever, including one of the most infamous criminals in American history, Al Capone. By the 1960s, Eastern State was collapsing. The building decayed. The system failed. The damage could not be undone. In 1971, the state of Pennsylvania officially closed the prison, but silence did not erase memory. After its closure, Eastern State gained a new reputation. Many began calling it one of the most haunted places in America. Television crews arrived. Paranormal investigators followed. Visitors reported voices, footsteps, shadows. Cell Block 12, laughter and screams. Cell Block 6, darting figures. Cell Block 4, ghostly faces. The same stories, told again and again by visitors, guards, and staff for decades. In the early 1990s, a maintenance worker named Gary Johnson attempted to open an old lock in Cell Block 4. As the lock gave way, the room grew cold. He described a surge of overwhelming negative energy. Faces appearing on the walls, a dark form beckoning him forward. He ran. Others later reported similar experiences. Yet, Eastern State Penitentiary does not claim to be haunted. The staff is careful. They remind visitors this is not a ghost story. It is a human story. Over 70,000 real people lived here. Their suffering does not need exaggeration. Whether these experiences are paranormal or psychological echoes of trauma remains unanswered. Today, visitors walk beneath the neo-Gothic arches and skylights that once symbolized America's moral ambition. What remains is not fear. It is a warning about what happens when punishment replaces understanding, when isolation replaces humanity, and when systems forget the people inside them. If this story made you pause or think differently about the past, let us know in the comments. And if you value real history told honestly, please like this video and subscribe for more stories like this. Eastern State Penitentiary stands silent now. Its mystery remains alive, and its story is complete.